to be a part of this conference. Rhonda Rashay Penrice is a veteran writer and historian who is the author of both African American History for Dummies and the updated 2021 edition. Black American History for Dummies, just read that, a prolific television and film critic. Her work regularly appears in The Hollywood Reporter, NBC News, NBC Black, and The Wrap. She is also the editor of the 2022 volume Cracking the Wire During Black Lives Matter, featuring essays from all Black writers on different aspects of the iconic television series. She is a board member of the Black Women Film Network, the longest-running organization of its kind at nearly 30 years old, supporting and championing Black women in film, TV, and beyond. She has also appeared on several specials, sharing her expertise in Black history and culture on several networks, including TV One, MSNBC, and CNN. Most recently, she served as a researcher, on-camera expert, and associate producer on the Hulu doc Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told. She began her career as a book reviewer and also covered hip-hop, R&B, and Black entertainment and culture for various publications, including Billboard, Rolling Stone, Vibe, Essence, and Ebony, as well as Rap Pages, Upscale, and Uptown magazines, where she held several leadership positions. The longtime Atlanta resident is a Chicago native with deep Mississippi roots. Welcome and give a hand for Rhonda Rashay Penrice.
Hello, is that better?
Test. Mine's on either.
Oh, yours is on, I can hear.
Is it?
Hi, thank you all, and let's give a great congratulations to Melissa Alexander here. And I know you're saying hi to the people that are watching, because I've been watching on YouTube too. So first and foremost, I want you to tell the audience what we have seen.
You know, when we the Illest, which was the cast and myself, right? When we first were promoting 360 Degrees of Blackness, a lot of people were like, what is this thing, right? And I was like, it's an intimate performance of 70s poetry, full stop, right? And people were like, I still don't get it. I don't know, I'm still not sure, like, so it's like a performance, and I'm like, it's a performance of 70s poetry, right? And we performed it at Gallery 992 in 2019, and we're gonna perform it here, but you know, COVID came through and everything shut down, so we weren't able to actually perform it in front of an audience quite like this. So we pivoted and we turned it into a film. So that's what you just saw. You just saw technically you just saw the performance.
But we also saw, because we're at a conference about, you know, collecting, preserving, researching our history, we also see you using your various talents as a photographer, filmmaker, to resurrect, preserve, and present to a new generation a work that a lot of people aren't familiar with, a work that's no longer in print. So how did you come across this work, and why did it resonate and speak to you?
Yeah, so you just hit on a couple of different things there, but I remember being at, like, okay, so the timeline, right? Let's think about that. 2019, in maybe like July or so, I was just up the street at For Keeps bookstore, which if you guys haven't been there, please definitely make a trip to For Keeps. It's a Black-owned bookstore that, like, they specialize in everything Black and like literature and like first edition type stuff. It's just it's a vibe over there. So anyway, I was there, and Rosa, the owner, had this book on the table. Like, she had a bunch of books on the table, and the one I gravitated to it said 360 Degrees of Blackness coming at you, or something like that. And it had like horoscope looking stuff, and then I saw Sonia Sanchez's name, and I was like, dang, what is going on here, right? So I sat down, and as I started reading it, I started hearing people performing it, right? Like I started hearing that cadence, that 70s cadence, because it was written like that. Like it was written in that vernacular. And I just was like, yo, it would be dope to see people perform this now. Because not only is the poetry like of worth, the themes and the things they're talking about are still like resonating today, right? So that was like July, right? And then I put the book down, and I just remember thinking, dang, I want to see this as a performance. And I started talking about it to everybody that would listen. And I was like, yo, what do you think if 70s performance or 70s poetry performance, like, would you come to that? And they was like, yeah, that sounds cool. I was like, all right. It just kept churning until I just said, I got a studio, which means I got a rehearsal space. I'm gonna go ahead and just put out a casting call. And I put out the casting call. People showed up, like maybe that Saturday. So now we're looking at maybe around September, maybe late August, early September. I can't remember when Sonia Sanchez's birthday is, but come to find out, I put the casting call out on her birthday, right? So it's like all aligning, right? So we have the casting call, the cast is formed, and then we start rehearsing, right? We're rehearsing every Wednesday, right, Ola? Like, one of the cast members is here. That's Ola. She did the libations and, was it Free Black Woman? So we would have rehearsals every Wednesday, right? So it just got deeper because we were forming a family. Like, I knew most of the people that came for the casting call and that became a part of the cast, but we were really like tight. Like, we saw each other every week. Okay, so that October of 2019, right? I was a part of a show in Philly. It was a bunch of Black women photographers. So I'm there, and it's my first time in Philly, and I'm really excited. It's really awesome, right? So Sue Ross, who is going to be on the next panel, Sue came up to me and was like, oh, there's someone I want you to meet. And then I turned around and like Sonia Sanchez was standing right there, and I was like, oh snap, like this is crazy. Like, we've been performing, this poetry, and I was like, do you mind if we do a performance of it? And she's like, oh, what y'all want to do a performance of all that old stuff for? Like, but she was like, yeah, do your thing, like make it dope. So when I got back, it was like we went really hard. Now, mind you, this is all between July and October, right? We ended up doing the performance in November of 2019, and we didn't record it. It was one of those things where you had to be there. I didn't want people to have their phones out. I wasn't encouraging that. Like, it wasn't meant to be, it was meant to be a space where we remembered community, and we remembered each other, or we remembered what it meant to be close, and you know what I'm saying? So, that's largely where 360 Black, like, yeah, it was the book started it, but it was a continuation of that feeling of, I guess, how the book was formed. So, yeah.
Now, before I go into the specifics of how you filmed it, I want you to talk about, like, where you're from, how did you, when did you first recognize you were a creative person?
Yeah, I'm from a lot of places, but I've been in the South since I was about 10, right? So if I leave and people ain't saying please and thank you and holding doors open and stuff like that, then I know I'm not home, right? And if I can greet a Black woman and like give her a compliment and it just feels like cousins or it feels like sisterhood, like that's when I know I'm back in the South. So, and then like in terms of my family, my parents are New Yorkers, right? So even though I have the sensibilities of someone from the South, a lot of the way I carry myself and move in this world, I can't say it's like a New Yorker. I don't want to go there because there's New Yorkers in the crowd who may say like, nah, you ain't like that, but I do have, there's a certain way that I carry myself, right? And I attribute that to my parents. And then just culturally, my parents instilled in me like an appreciation for, my parents were a little bit older. My dad was 50 when I was in 6th grade, right? My mom was a hippie. She almost went to Woodstock, right? So it's like I had my father who's from Brownsville, Brooklyn, who's very hip and with it, and listening to the stylistics and listening to Isaac Hayes and all that kind of stuff. And then I got my mom on the other side who is like, she might have put me on to Parliament, or she might have put me on to the Moody Blues, Pink Floyd, right? So I have a really deep appreciation for all things 70s. I love hearing stories. My parents were also very big on having albums, photo albums, right? And so as a kid, I didn't know who these people were, looking at the pictures, but I could imagine the stories. And so when it comes to how I approach my photography, how I approach my filmmaking, I'm always trying to get a little bit close. And I think you guys saw that with some of the angles and the shots that I had in the film. They're very close, they're very intimate, because I want you to feel like you're there with me. Either you're next to me or you're next to the person that's on screen. Again, to create that feeling of community, that feeling of intimacy, and that feeling of we're all connected and we're all one.
Now I got to go back now. Specific parts of the South. Name the specific parts of the South.
Wait, say that again?
The specific parts of the South. You just said the South, but where in the South?
Where in the South? Oh, Clayton County, Clayco. You know what I mean? That's where when I moved here from Connecticut, because like I said, I was born in California, but I moved when I was, my family moved when I was about 2, right? So in a real way, I'm kind of glad they did, because if I grew up in Oakland, that means that I probably would have rocked with E40. You feel what I'm saying? And he sounds like a rubber ball to me. I'm trying to give him a chance. But yeah, so we moved from Oakland, and then we lived in Texas, and then we lived in Maryland. And then that was like kindergarten-ish. And then like 1st grade through 5th grade, we lived in right outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And then 6th grade, I moved here. So like, in a lot of ways, I am a kid of Connecticut. I remember snowsuits and snow boots and sledding and all of that stuff. But if somebody asks me where I'm from, I'm gonna say the South.
Okay. Now let's go back. I want to get into how you filmed this, because one of the things, especially looking out from the audience on the big screen, I saw it on my, tiny screen. But talk about the approach to filming it. You just alluded to it for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
but what struck me was seeing people were literally stepping out of portraits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the stillness, but emotion to
Mm-hmm.
it as well. So talk about that technique and
Yeah.
how you.
So a really major influence on the film and the whole 360 experience in general is the 70s television show Soul, right? And it was like, I can't say it was like a public access TV show if y'all haven't seen it, but the host and and his name is escaping me right now.
I can't call it either.
Why is his name it's
But the doc is on PBS Yoruba.
yeah, what's the brother's name?
Thank you, Sue.
Ellis Hazlett?
Yes.
What is it?
Ellis Hayes.
Yes, Ellis Hazlett. And he was like amazing, right? So I had watched the documentary, but then I had seen the TV show. So Ellis Hazlett was like interviewing, everybody. Everybody from back in the day who was someone of worth, someone of note. Sonia Sanchez was on there, but then he also had like performances. I mean, a lot of people, right? I mean, there's some, and I'm trying to like think of someone specifically. I mean, Ahmad Jamal was on there, but also Isaac Hayes, but also the Stylistics. Like it was just, and they were talking about the issues and the things of the day, right? So I wanted 360 Degrees of Blackness to feel almost like an extension of that, a baby of that, or like a grandchild of soul, almost like a salon type of thing, a place where we could just let our hair down and let our blackness show and like unapologetically, right? So that was the inspiration behind it. But when you look at it, right, when you have that one light, and you know, and it's very dramatic, and you have a lot of shadow. In general, with my photography, the shadow is going to be there. I'm a big fan of Renaissance art, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Caravaggio. A lot of those artists, I wanted to be an art historian, right? So a lot of that art still carries into my work today, and not just the photography, but now also with the film. And so it was a feeling of, I wanted that feeling of like, yes, this is a beautiful portrait, and if you still this, like if you just take a picture of the film, it could just be a great portrait, right? But I wanted that portrait to move. I wanted you to get the feeling that you also could be the portrait. Like these are regular people, like with regular jobs. Like I don't think any of the folks at the time were like, oh, I'm specifically an actor. Like they all had other jobs. They were still meeting, like we were all meeting after work. But they did so fantastically, right? Everyone brought something to that space. And in a lot of ways, they taught me. Like I had the idea, but would I say that I was the director? I don't know. I feel like, what do you think, Ola? I think we all,
It's very collective.
you know what I mean? Like we all were like, well, what if we did it like this? And they're teaching me about blocking. They're teaching me about how to act. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know what I was doing, but they were like, Melissa, tap in and feel this way. Like it was such a thing of sharing. And I think that's evident.
And then how did you, because we did see you, so how did you capture yourself?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I filmed myself or did you film me? I think Ola filmed me, because Ola already is like a filmmaker in her own right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when it came to certain things, I could go to her and be like, so how am I going to do this? Or, you know, she was like, don't worry about it. I can film you, right? Because I could trust her with my camera, because this is what she does. So that's what I'm saying. It was like we all brought something to the table. Yeah, of course I could direct them, and I could give them guidance on what I wanted to see. But in a lot of ways, I was just like, just be yourself. Just tap in however you see fit to tap in. Like, I'm not looking for something specific from you. I'm looking, and if I am, I'm just looking for you to be you.
On screen, how many days are we seeing filmed? Was this
Just one.
one take? Okay.
Yeah, I think this was just one day. Like, I think I was like, yo, I'll be there from 9 to 6. Y'all just come in. And, you know, again, it had to be that long because COVID, right? So we're that was another crazy thing, because it was like we still wanted to be together, but we were like, I don't know if you got COVID. Don't be coming up in here coughing, right? Like, bring a mask, like, or if we were in there, maybe there might have been at one point maybe 4 or 5 of us in the same room, and we're, you know, whoever's not on camera has a mask on. It was just a crazy time. Even considering the reason why we had to pivot to a film. We were, like I said, we were supposed to perform that here. Vic, you know what I'm saying, Victor came, I invited him, which is funny because I was like, I want to work with the Auburn Ave Research Library because it feels good every time I go there. And I was like, dang, how can I maybe like partner with them on this? And I was like, oh, offer VIP tickets to like the guy at, you know what I'm saying, AARL. But then once Victor and I like there was so much backstory, and you can even come up here and chat about it, you know what I'm saying? But Victor had his own connection to 360 Black, right? And so it was just like this thing that just felt so natural, like this connection that just felt so natural. And, you know, if you want to.
Sure. So I got the phone call from Melissa. I was at the auto body shop trying to get my car fixed. And she said, oh, I'm doing this thing. And she mentioned 360 Degrees of Blackness. And I said, well, I know the book. And she was like, oh, really? You know, because not that many people know about this book. And I said, well, yeah, I know the book personally because that book was written at a workshop at the library that I ran in New York at the County Cullen Library. I said, I know the book because I had a copy of it in my library. And so I said, I know this book personally. There was a large amount of money that was put into Harlem in the early 70s, and it really was to really push the arts and spread like just blackness in general, because a lot of the money went to black people in that area. So that's how they were able to afford to have Sonia Sanchez come in and do this long workshop with the community. So when Melissa called, I was just like, yeah, I'd love to go. And I remember going home telling my wife, and I was like, yeah, I got this like cold call, and it's crazy because she's talking about a book that I used to look at all the time and just be amazed, because when I was at County Cullen running this, and I ran that building for about 4 years, I always kept saying, man, why can't we get Sonia Sanchez to come back up here and do this again?
You know, I still have that voicemail.
It's crazy.
I have not deleted that voicemail because you were like, hey, this is Victor from Auburn Ave Research Library. Yeah, I definitely want to chat with you. And I'm like,
professional voice.
saving this forever, like for real.
So yeah, so when she called, it was like a no-brainer. And when I went to the show, I was just like amazed. I was like, wow, you know, just from buying the book, as you told me the story, and then making that happen, I felt it. It was slightly different than the film. There was stuff that was performed that was not in the film, but all the same, just amazing in general. I remember I was sitting next to Charmaine Minifield, and we were both like, "This is it!" Like,
yeah, it was because it was such a feeling of like,
right.
Yo, we're here. Like this, it was like a very present. Like I said, I didn't want no one to have no phones out. Like, the excitement of the crew, or the cast, like the excitement of everybody, like people coming into Gallery 992, you know, of course they saw folks that they knew, so it was almost like a family reunion type of vibe, but it was like, I knew who was there were the demographic for me, right? And so as a creative or an artist or even a freelancer, right, you're always looking for, like, not always, but you're looking for the demographic that like understands you, right? Like, I know there may be certain things where I put my work in and it's like, nah, this ain't gonna resonate with this crowd. But I knew that everybody who was in the room, and we sold out, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, up until like that afternoon, people were still sending me messages like, so what is this again? Like, the content, like the promotions that you've been putting out has been like really good, but I still don't know. And I was like, well, get a ticket and find out. It's $30, relax. Like, just get the ticket and come. But when we looked out at the audience and every seat was taken, and you know, the excitement of everyone looking at each other, and then the lights went down, and it was like we just launched into this thing that I can't say we pulled it out of our ass, but like we launched into this thing that we had spent 9-10 weeks practicing every week, and then twice a week, you know what I'm saying, like leading up to it. And then it just was a moment in time that I don't know if it will ever be replicated. Like, and I'm talking about from beginning to end. Like, I've been searching for that feeling, like searching for that project, searching for that thing that's gonna make me tap in the way I did. I was praying to God. I was like, God, I'm gonna have to give a lot to this production. I need some gigs that are gonna let me rest, and I don't have to like hustle no photo shoots. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it was like, I got like maybe like a $6,000-7,000 gig that was gonna take care of my rent for the next few months and any other like things I needed, because I was that tapped in my brain. So it's like trying to find that feeling again. I'm like, dang, I don't even know if that can happen again in that way that it happened. It might. You know, I'm a powerful person, right? So, and I know what I speak is powerful. But it was a moment, it was like a pure moment. And like I said, you know, Sue connected me with Sonia, right? And it was like the day of the performance, I was in my room, walking in a circle, talking to Sonia Sanchez on the phone, and like, she just pouring into us. She's pouring into us, telling us that she hopes that we have a great performance, and that it was. And then when we did the film, I was able to track down 3 of the original authors who contributed to the 360 Degrees of Blackness book itself, and like showing them the film, and then them watching the film and saying to us, you guys are like the new black arts renaissance that they had back in the 70s. They were seeing that in us. Yo, that's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Well, it's what they call legacy.
Like, yeah.
And you have a responsibility to not only take it in, but to give it out.
yes, right? And what a responsibility that is. And since then, like I said, always trying to search for that thing, but realizing, and I guess maybe I'm realizing it now in this moment, that it doesn't have to look like any certain thing. It's just that the continuation of moving with that feeling and the desire to help everyone see their reflection in a very real way is me continuing that torch, right? And I mean, Ola has her films in film festivals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've watched all of the cast members just grow since our time together. And I don't know, I don't want to be narcissist and be like, oh, it's because of the energy that we built. But maybe it is partly the energy that we built. And it's like, people are now able to say, like Sir Calloway, I remember he was the one who did the, where he was saying he was a colored boy and now he's a black man, right? Calloway had always wanted to act, and he wasn't sure, if he would get, if he would be accepted, and he was like, yo, I feel like I could do anything now. I feel like I could, so it's just watching everyone grow from the experience. It just solidifies that we did something special.
It's like we are the ones that we've been waiting for. Like, as simple as that. Victor, do we have time for some questions? Or
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely want to hear
Does
from
anybody have any
Ola,
questions?
though. Ola, I feel like you've been a part of our conversation, and we're not hearing from you. So wait, Victor, what are you doing?
Ola, you want to say something?
I feel like I need to.
I think so.
Well, it was definitely a collective.
Wait, hold on. You're gonna have to come up.
I have to come up.
Yeah.
God bless.
Give it up for Ola, y'all.
Well, yes. Hello, everybody. So it was definitely a collective, right? It was a very, very special time. And part of the the best part for me was Melissa made all of us research our writers, all of the poets. You know, we got a chance to look through the book, see what resonated with us, and then we had to find them people from 40 years plus ago. I can't remember the name of my author because is this the 5th year anniversary?
It might be, but she changed her name. She changed her name. It was like Nia Insabe.
Yeah.
And then she changed her name to like something else, and I don't remember what it was, but she was one of the sisters who was on the call with us.
Right,
Or
and
the Zoom.
she's still a poet and a teacher. She teaches poetry. And Mel, this is 5 years. It's been 5
5
years
years
now.
now? Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2019 November.
Wow.
They love
Did you know that?
anniversaries.
That seems like a long time.
It had, the panini, it did it. It compressed time.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, that's all I had to say. It was a very. I wrote today on Instagram when we were commenting on things that this is probably one of the experiences in my adult life that's going to resonate with me. It has imprinted on me, and I'm going to carry it with me as an artist. So I think I had already made my first film when we were shooting this, but now I have my 5th film in the film festival circuit. And this experience and collecting the energy from my peers, and, you know, it was almost like a time warp. It was like being in children's repertory theater again, but for adults. And it helped me to kind of like remember my abilities, my capacity as an artist, what it's like to share in communion as an artist. And can we do something again?
I feel like we need to because it was playtime. It was playtime.
It was like being outside.
I don't know if y'all have ever created anything with a group of people, or even by yourself, right? Where it feels like this is just creative play. Like, and it could come to nothing, but it could come to everything.
Yeah. And when,
Right?
as an adult, everything has to be monetary. And everything has to be, we're going to do this so we can get this bag, and this is the Atlanta hustle, and this is how you do it.
Yo, I think I paid
we're
them
starving
like $60.
artists. And yeah, and
Like
it
I
wasn't
want to
that.
recoup what I had to put out to like pay for the space, like for Gallery 992, but we didn't really make no money off of this. Like, it wasn't about that though. Like, it was purely about seeing each other every week and being like, let's get to it. Did you practice? But then really, like, truly going home and practicing and being like, you know, trying out different ways to say it. And like, I'm not an actor. Like, I definitely am not an actor. I can make it look like I cried, but I'm not no actor. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not where I wanted to be, but they emboldened me to try it and just see. I won't do it again. But, you know what I'm saying?
But
That's
also,
the
I
point.
mean, were you willing to try also because there was something in the words that felt like home? There's something that feels like, you know, your family.
Yes, very much so. Like, very much so.
Remember when you found your piece?
Yeah, I remember because she talks about losing her child. I've had that happen, and they were like, I just remember I was crying for real. I might cry again right now because I remember you and Teresa being like, yo, just tap in, grab that feeling and put it into the poem. And I was like, when y'all said that, it was like, ding. It was like, suddenly I understood the poem more than just the words I'm reading. I saw myself on that ship. I felt the sway of the ocean. I felt the feeling of the ocean surrounding me, but I'm in a womb that I don't belong in, right? I'm in this ship, but the mother, the ocean, is still even around that. So it was like, and then the spiritual connection that I have with my friends, it's like, it was I don't know how to describe it more than it was just a moment of tapping in deeply.
Well, our history has power.
Yeah.
You know, our past experiences, our shared experiences, it all has power. We have some questions?
One more question.
Hello, my name is Charles. Rhonda, you did a great job moderating, and so I
Hold
say,
on, real quick before you ask your question, can you come closer? Because
Yeah.
I can't hear. My hearing is like kind of so-so.
hey, my name is Charles. I wanted to
Hey.
say, Rhonda, you did a great job moderating, but the reason I'm saying that is because as I listened back there and you went through your story, I can actually visualize it. So have you ever wondered about making a movie about the movie, like making the movie? Because I can see
That's
it,
cool.
and it was like so dope the way it's playing out and just how the connections happen. It was like it was written. So, is that something
Oh, that's a good
you
idea,
would
brother.
consider? Yeah.
That's
Cool.
a good idea, and you might see something like that because it almost does seem like a little bit like, nah, that couldn't have a line like that. But when I found out when Sonia Sanchez's birthday was, and that we put the call out for that on her birthday, then Sue introduced us, and then and then how we all came together, that would be kind of cool.
Even during COVID, and I called you because we were supposed to do the performance here, and I said, Melissa, you should film it. I said you should make it into a film, and you were like, I was thinking the same thing, and then you told me about Soul. Do you know Soul? I said, yes, I do, because I'm from New York, and that was a PBS thing, and so when you did that, and I was like, oh, I could see it. I saw it in my head, and it was crazy because I was like, oh, it reminds me of something like a Marlon Riggs kind of thing, and then you were like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, black background, and when I saw it the first time, I was like, that's exactly how I saw it in my mind, and it was
That's
like it
dope.
was so perfect. And so when you talk about the energy and how just the synergy of the whole process, it really was there, because I was just like, what are the chances that all of those things could just happen the way they happened, and of course I don't want COVID to ever come back like that, but everything happened for a reason, and it made it possible for us to be here today watching that on the screen because of this major event,
Yeah.
but because of all those other steps before it. So again, it really was something special. You
It
had
was
to be there
divine.
at that performance.
It was divine.
But I feel that when you go and you're digging in the archives and you have things that you're putting a call out to history, it's like a bat signal, and all those things come because it's the time for those stories to be told. So congratulations to you all.
Thanks.
And thank you for sharing this, and
Yeah.
hopefully you're doing more films.
We probably I don't know, we might do a little reunion, if anything, just to kind of check in, because it has been 5 years, and a lot of things happen in 5 years, and not even just to see if the magic is still there. I know it is. I feel like it'll just be like seeing cousins. You haven't seen your cousins in a while, you be like, dang, what's up? I feel like we're overdue for that.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
so much. Thank you, guys. And
Thank you, guys.
thank you, Victor. Thank you, Auburn Avenue Research Library.